own fuck shit. I'm not
Yeah, but has Will fuck shit
fuck
ever
shit.
blown up like this?
No. Will has a girlfriend.
Why would it?
Will
Why would it though? Why would it though? Who would ever call out a man?
Don't have a
no,
girlfriend.
but I'm saying who would ever call out a man for doing the same shit? And that's the problem. It's not an issue of like, oh, Jada's done some extra like level fuck shit. It's that no one would ever call out a man for the same fuck shit. Cause look at Future. Look at all these other fuckers.
Where's the little 20 something? Nah. Y'all gotta slow. Y'all gotta stop it.
Excuse me.
Y'all gotta stop it.
The man in office is a motherfucking rapist.
Men do this all the time.
Hold up. Office.
No, y'all doing a lot of projection. It's not fair.
There's not
y'all are projecting.
Who's projecting what?
No.
Please. No.
No, y'all are projecting.
Who's projecting what?
This is wrong. Y'all can't say,
no.
I'm not saying
men do it all the time.
I'm not saying it's not wrong.
That's what I'm saying.
It's also wrong for men to do it, and it's not cut out the same.
Right, but Will didn't prey on a 20-something with drug issues, family issues.
Men do it all the time.
I'm not saying in this context. I'm comparing.
So how is that
Will and
relevant
Jada's
to this
actions.
conversation, though?
No, but I'm saying
it is.
It's not relevant. We talk about
you're
Jada
saying
Will.
You're saying it's not relevant because I'm talking about the larger system of it, and you're talking about the individual situation.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Men do this.
I'm more so saying that you being upset. I'm saying that some men being upset about Jada is funny to me because men do not get the same kind of upset when other men do that same fuck shit. People still listen to motherfucking 69. People still fuck with Future. People still fuck with all these motherfuckers who do creepy ass, sketchy ass, bullshit ass shit.
I'm speaking for myself. I don't fuck with 6ix9ine.
You can't speak for yourself. You can't speak for yourself in this situation. I'm not talking about you as an individual person. I'm talking about the larger system of things where it's misogyny plays into the fact that people will always downplay what a man does and will always upplay whatever a woman does wrong.
No, I thought your verbals was interested because you drew Will into it. You drawed an equation between Jada's behavior and Will's behavior. But
I'm saying that he may also.
Will has a whole girlfriend.
Will has a girlfriend that's his age.
A whole girlfriend.
Who's his girlfriend?
He could have easily cheated on somebody beforehand.
Like cheat on Jada beforehand or separate situations. Whatever the fuck her name is.
They're also in an open. They're in an open relationship. They're in an open marriage. Anyways, they've always been in an open marriage.
Right.
Like, long time we've known that. So it's not even like a suspect of like, oh, they had partners outside of it. The question is what kind of partner and what context you got that partner. And that's
what I'm saying. That was just a bad choice.
That's a qualifiable conversation.
That was a bad choice.
I think specifically
that was a bad choice, and you gotta be honest. Jada, were you being an adult when you made that decision? Were you being
men do this all the time? Okay, we don't ask if they're maturity level.
But okay, y'all, is that always gonna be a retort when people do something wrong? Don't y'all always say we shouldn't do that with women?
What? No, I think it's not that we don't want to talk about how it's not wrong. It's that we want to talk about how a lot of
it. It's not right, but it's okay.
Y'all sound so full of shit right now.
But
You sound so full of shit.
And the thing, you know what's funny though, is because men would love to take an opportunity to call out a woman when it's not in context, but then when women take opportunity to call out men when it's attached to a parallel context.
That's not a context.
The context of an older person preying on a younger person in a sexual manner, that is the context I'm talking about.
Let's put this in full context. Not only was August Alsina
you're going specific context.
No. Not only was August Alsina disproportionately younger than this woman, this nigga had a drug issue. This nigga had family issues, mommy and daddy issues. Then he lost his mother, his father, and his sister in a short period of time.
Were you? But like, but the same men who were
this
nigga, were they as hot about R. Kelly? The same men that are as hot about Jada, were they as hot about R. Kelly? That's the motherfucking question. And I can say right now, they weren't. And it wasn't one individual person. It was several women, and it was several levels of abuse.
You can't talk to me about R. Kelly because I don't fuck with that man, and I'm
not talking about you as an individual person, but let me tell you, I'm saying the same people who want to get extra hot.
Thank you. Like, come on. And why? So my thing is like, so Jada just
wow.
I'm just gonna pick this sickly nigga on the brink of death, and I'm just gonna love him, and then
you have yet to acknowledge that I never said that she was darker what she did. I'm just saying that leads to the opportunity to have a larger conversation.
equivalencies there. That's why I'm outlining.
It's good for the goose. It is good for the
No,
gander,
that's not. That's not how you do shit. That don't even make sense.
Yes, it does. Men
No,
do this
it
on
doesn't.
a regular
It means that you don't want progress.
taking advantage of young mothers that need them. And then just have several mistresses. But it's okay for men to do it. But when a woman, oh my God, she's so wrong. Look at all these past travesties.
I never said that.
Of this young man.
The answer to progress cannot be we both do shitty shit. That can't.
But being a woman explicitly does not give you power over other people.
Y'all arguing a point I never argued or levied.
We're extending your argument.
No, I never levied that argument. What was my initial argument?
I feel like August got a small blessing.
No, I feel
no.
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like you're not coming to terms with the fact that her behavior was shitty and predatory because August is a man.
Come up out of it in this wonderful family, go on vacations that no one ever sees in their lifetime, getting good head, getting that good sex.
That's a wrong assessment. That's a terrible assessment. That's a terrible assessment.
And he was able to advance his career.
That's a terrible assessment.
If anything, I think that there's something to talk about the conversation that it's not just the uncles that we should be concerned about in our community. It's also the aunties. That's a larger conversation. No, you're saying it's just the aunts. That's why I'm checking you on that shit.
No, I did not say that.
I'm saying it's both aunts and uncles that we can be worried about because of the fact. No, but the thing is, okay, comment back on the fact that why it's an issue is because of the fact that when a 15-year-old boy is being talked to by a 35-year-old woman, he's a top dog because he's getting shit early. He's getting it in, right? Yeah, that's so cool.
Never said that.
No, that shit is the same. No, but I'm saying that shit is fucked up. But that's the type of situation where it's like the aunties can also be predatory the same way uncles can also be molesting their younger children in the family.
I'm literally saying that Jada was predatory. And that women are often predatory, but because of how
you're saying women are often predatory.
Let's just make real clear. August was a grown man when this happened. He was a grown man.
That's the problem, is that being an adult does not mean you're always in the best position to make sound decisions for yourself. And also also being an adult means that you can see, okay, this person is impaired. They cannot make a good decision. They cannot have informed consent in this predicament. Maybe I should use my own adult judgment and emotional intelligence to decide, okay, I'm gonna pass on this. Let me go find somebody else to fulfill my void and entangle myself with. That is the problem. Jada did not make a sound decision. This was not. And then it was duplicitous because she marketed this man as her mentor, as her son, while she was fucking this man. Come on. Like, come on.
I'm just gonna open up the fact that my argument is not that I'm saying that shit wasn't predatory. My argument is simply that if you can understand that, then you need to understand when we're talking about men doing that shit too.
I've understood it. It's not relevant to the point I'm arguing. Because you jumped in when me and her were going at it, because she was saying it wasn't predatory. And I was saying, no, it is. It's the definition textbook definition of predatory is what Jada was doing. And if we can't call it out.
I do not agree.
Okay, then let's start and end there, because you started having a whole conversation about it.
Marissa,
that was predatory.
It's predatory. Marissa, why
don't I think it's predatory?
Yeah.
Because so they were, I think he was 24.
He was 23. He was 23.
So 23. At 23, you have your mind is grown.
No,
and
it's
you
not.
can make adult decisions as an adult man.
Yeah.
Would we say the same thing at a 23-year-old woman? Would we make these excuses or would he say that about a woman who's 23 years old dating like a 50-something-year-old man? That's damn near commonplace. That happens all of the time, and we don't make their minds aren't fully developed.
I feel like you're coming from a biased place.
I think the predatory part of it does not come from his age, but the situations in which their relationship had. Not because he was 23 and he's of age, but because he had an autoimmune disease. He had lost family members. All of these major things are happening in his life, and she swooped in like a saving grace, only to be having sex with him. Like, it'd be different if she came in and was like taking care of him and there were no physical relations, but like
if she's not his mother.
If you're going through all of
But she was playing the role.
And she's married. Like,
and she's a Smith. Y'all forgetting she's a Smith.
If she came
what does that have to do?
If she came
his ability to say no, is that what you're getting at, Chi?
No.
What does that have to do with him being a Smith?
Yes.
If she came in as a girlfriend and she was taking care of him and they just so helping to have us, like, it was from the get-go.
So
she was
it's a relationship that y'all aren't used to.
No, it's a power. It's a power. I think the conversation around the power dynamic that was in play. The power dynamic that was
that's
at play.
A disproportionate power dynamic on multiple fronts.
Absolutely. She's a married woman. She's sick.
Can we take the fact that she's a married woman out?
We can take that out.
Do this all the time.
We can take that out.
Marriage,
I don't even need that shit.
She's older than him. How old was she at the time?
20. She's 21 years older than that man.
Okay. So regardless of the age, because he's of age, let's remove that. It's all of his situations. If he was a single young man and Jada was married and like they just it was an affair, fuck it, that's their business. It's just everything that was going on with him that makes this predatory.
So I have a question.
Coming out now, and the fact that he's coming out now and saying like, oh, I really love this woman. This is someone I really cared about. Like, I could die today saying that I really love someone. And
come on, man.
Saying that this is an entanglement. Like, this was some R. Kelly shit.
No, it was
actually
not.
It wasn't from R. Kelly. I take that back.
I was R. Kelly definitely is a whole other level.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. Well, let's take.
I'm saying for me, August and Alsina is just in a long list of bad shit that people, not bad, but like just predatory and unusual shit that people have been doing since the beginning of time. We're not saying this is more unusual than anything that's ever happened, but we are saying it's fucking bad. Like,
so it's predatory.
It's
predatory because I'm just trying to get what y'all are saying.
Yeah,
it's predatory because.
Hold on just a second.
Because she's older than him.
No,
it's okay. We can let her go through it. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's predatory because I'm just trying to understand what y'all are saying. Because she's so much older than him, and because when she met him, he was going through a lot of devastating things in his life. Is that why you're saying that it's predatory?
It's predatory because the fact that, one, like, she brings up a point, like, she is a Smith, so it's kind of like the whole idea of, again, if we're thinking about, like, flip the dynamic, Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton. Like, no one ever asked Bill Clinton to change his name, but everyone's like, Monica Lewinsky, why don't you ever change your name? People don't talk about the dynamic and the fact that denying Bill Clinton of what he would have wanted in that moment would have impacted her negatively in that situation. So in a situation where, again, someone who is of prestige, of prominence, of power, want something of you, whether or not you explicitly know that you fully want or have a decision about that or not, you are far more inclined to give into what they want because of that power dynamic. So she has that power dynamic because of prestige, but secondarily, she has a power dynamic because she was offering him support he was not getting otherwise when he was in a very compromised situation and condition. And again, that is not to say that cannot develop sensations of romance within that in terms of, I think it's complicated because it's not someone who is in a manipulative relationship is not always going to know they're being manipulated or see it as manipulation. So there's also that feature of him coming out saying this is this type of relationship that can be his truth and he can hold on to that, but that also doesn't mean that it's not complex in the sense that could also be a way that he's coping through the situation as well.
That is how he's coping, by saying, oh, well, I love this woman. I'm happy I got to experience this level of love. And you can tell it's fucked up because on the other side, she's just like, oh, it was an entanglement. And then Will was like, no, that was a relationship. Like, Will even had to correct her. Like, nah, baby girl, you was in a relationship with that man. Like,
so I don't, what's wrong with Jada saying it's an entanglement? I feel like anyone would, if you came out and said I'm in a relationship and I wasn't ready for you to do that, I'm automatically going to retract.
No,
I'm
but
automatically gonna be like, no,
if
this
you
is not what
with
it
somebody,
is.
see, but this is what I don't like, because we talk about how men play with words and to the detriment of women's feelings, and you're not holding the same energy for men. Because if I'm in a 4-year engagement with somebody, we seen each other consistently, I'm their support system, I'm taking pictures with them, we're appearing at public venues and events together, that's a relationship.
Yeah, they were in a relationship.
But my whole thing is, if you know what it is, like, if I am in a relationship with a man, I'm going out, I'm publicly, but I know that this man is married.
Yeah.
I know he's not leaving his wife.
Yeah.
Then I know what it is.
I'm not
so
saying,
then all of a sudden when I come out 4 years later, like, this is my truth, and then they deny it, I don't understand. Personally don't understand why, like, people are so hell-bent on, like, that's so wrong. How could she possibly do that? It happens, like, it's so common.
Yeah. I think that August was ahead of his, I don't know what he was thinking, to be honest. I think he was ahead of his what's the word I'm looking for?
That nigga put the horse before
the cart before the horse.
He was ahead of something. Like, he knew all of the elements. He knew what it was. But I do feel the same way men tell women, like, oh, I'm a leave my wife, or you're special to me, or like if situations were
or
different.
Sometimes they don't even lie. I'm not leaving my wife for you.
Probably.
So you gotta also consider the context.
But someone saying that also doesn't mean that you believe it. You truly believe it to be true. Because someone could tell you the same way someone tells you they love you a lot, but they're also abusing you. You believe that they love you, even though you ignore the fact that they're abusing you. And that's, again, the fact that people have to cope through their realities in various ways. So you can believe something to be true, and people can act according to a certain truth that they are holding on to, and it not be based in reality.
And she said she was separated from her husband. Y'all, that's the context we not. So it's in the context
like,
of,
she's been saying for years openly that she's never getting a divorce. She's been saying that openly for years.
Yeah.
So I'm just,
either way.
But she also said that man was her mentor. So we know Jada lied. She was mentoring that man. So we know Jada lies.
Of course she lied. She didn't want everybody to know her business. It
that
wasn't
don't make
everybody's
it a good
business.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
like,
so Marissa, you're saying that this is a good thing. Like, go ahead, Jada.
No.
And everyone else.
No, I'm not saying that it's like a good thing, because clearly, like, he thought it was more than it was. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I mean, that sucks. That's hurtful. But what I am saying is, if somebody makes it clear to you, like, or says it out loud in public, like, I'm not getting a divorce, I'm never leaving my husband, to the world, and then somehow it's still misconstrued. To me, I don't think that Jada Pinkett Smith is a villain. I just don't. I don't think she's a
villain, yo. She's a villain. Ain't no way.
To be honest, I mean, the truth of the matter is, we're all heroes and we're all villains, depending on like, the story, the context, the action, the situation. Like, there are times where some people can do like, some people who've done really great things can also do really bad things.
Of course.
And it's not about the quality of that person. It's about the fact that we live in a fucked up world where we're conditioned by systems to do vile shit, and inherently sometimes we get really caught up in it. Like, I'm not excusing it. It's not an excuse to say it's okay that people do vile shit. I'm saying it's not a surprise that people do vile shit.
I just think we should be able to recognize that was some fucked up shit. I don't care how you cut that shit. That was fucked up. Like, there's women that I come in contact with, and you compete, shorty got some daddy issues. I really don't want to deal with maintaining that on a regular basis. So I'm going to make some space. You look at men,
all men have so many issues that if men didn't talk to women because daddy issues, women could not talk to a single man for their fucking lives off of all the issues y'all got. So let's not even get into it real quick. If you want to talk about just daddy issues, let's talk about all the issues motherfucking men.
Slow down.
Let's talk about
all
the issues.
For a minute.
All the issues.
You coming at me for things I didn't say. This is what I'm saying. You have to have emotional judgment. Should I be dealing with this person? Let me assess the person that they're bringing towards to me. Do I really want to maintain and support this person through whatever issues they've been through in life?
That sounds like this gonna take work. Never mind.
No, that's not what I said. No, that's not what I said. There's a lot of
plays out. Also, women do that all the time for men.
And
men come with a slew of it. That's why I'm just getting confused. Men come into relationships with a slew of issues. Some of them don't even have a checking account.
Women do shit that they don't need to do.
But most importantly, I feel like it's like as human beings, everyone comes with a lot of shit. The fact that men choose to opt out because it's too much work, that's what shit.
No, that's not what I said. This is what I said. If somebody's coming to you and they're broken, and you don't got the space in we have very complicated,
who comes
busy
to you
life.
not broken?
Let me finish the thought. You about to jump down my throat. Okay? I don't have the capacity to begin to help this person through and support them like they need the support, as well as maintaining my romantic attraction to them.
Have you heard of the broken bird syndrome? Have you heard of the broken bird syndrome?
No, let me finish, and you talk about all the syndromes you want to talk about. So if I see that somebody is too much for me, I don't have the emotional bandwidth to handle this person in a relationship and to low-key be a part-time therapist. It's best that you leave them the fuck alone. Period.
There's a lot of relationships that are like that. The broken bird syndrome. Sometimes people actually go and seek out the broken and the hurt.
You shouldn't be
let me help you. Let me nurture you. I can change you. But that happens all the time.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen. You arguing a point I never made. I'm saying it's not good. It's not healthy.
So there's the normative of what is happening in terms of, I think that they're definitely, Marissa, you're right. There are a lot of relationships where women are doing the absolute most when they really just need to be like, you need to go do your own work. And there's a lot of individual work that needs to happen, but there's also a lot of individual work that can happen in relationships. But I will say that you can argue against this. I don't care. This is my opinion, and I'm basing this off of my experiences and also what I know about. I'm also going to acknowledge the fact that women see men in a different way because we have to be aware of y'all in a different way than y'all ever have to be aware of us. So I think that that's something to acknowledge in this situation. But most importantly, what I'm getting at is this idea that there is something to this idea that women will not opt out when they should. Men will opt out a lot of times when if a little bit of effort would have gotten them where they wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of effort.
Agreed.
And sometimes it's individual work that they need to do to be in a partnership, but they're like, if I can be with somebody who doesn't make me do work and they do the work for me, oh, fuck me up, I'm gonna do that shit. That's
maybe.
That's
the truth.
I will say, I'm not gonna argue against that. I'm not gonna argue against that. But what I will say is that I think that sometimes women say, well, women should women do it, and then I'm like, why? Why do y'all do it?
Because we're conditioned to. Y'all are entitled to our care.
So what I'm saying is all of us collectively, progressively have to untie that knot.
But okay, so then maybe my question is if men can decide that their partner is too much work for them.
Not even a partner yet. Let's not use
No. Okay, so fine.
Potential partner.
Potential partner. Okay, so if a man can decide that potential partner is too much work for them and they can opt out of that, why do men continue to be in relationships where they know they are doing no emotional labor, no emotional work, and they are burdensome to their partner?
That's manipulation.
If men can pull away from the fact that they know they can't do the work, they also need to pull out of relationships where they are overwhelmingly being taken care of.
I totally agree with you. I'm totally for that. And I've told my boys that. I said, bro, you don't need to be dating her. You fucking her up right now. I swear to God, I totally agree with. I tell my sisters all the time, if a man is not in a place where he can be a supportive partner, and when I mean supportive, I mean just day-to-day support. Babe, how was your day? If you're going through something, help you through something. Not like your whole life is just a meltdown crisis from moment to moment. But if a man can't offer you that reciprocation and that energy back, you don't need to be dealing with him. Period. That's it. You won't catch me saying anything else. But what I'm saying is that you should have the emotional judgment. And a lot of times, it's part conditioning, but I think a lot of women get off on being able to turn some type of fucked up man into this pristine, refined.
Jesus, no.
Yes. So what was Jada
I'm not part of that. I'm not part of that category.
But you can't. So you can't tell me that's not a thing that
but women do that. They do it all the time. I
don't think Jada was. I'm so sorry, Marissa. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was just saying, like, women do that all the time. They find a man all the time, but it's kind of, it's just very one-sided that the coin can't flip. Or when men see this, they're like, oh, look at all this and all this issues and da-da-da-da-da. I don't know. It's difficult for me because I see it so prominently on the male side that this happens all the time on the male side, and it's so prominent, and it's always like, well, he improved her life.
If I may, I think that women are socialized to build men. And I think that's why,
unfortunately,
we were to wait for every guy to be perfect and come with the work done and have like therapy and is just like ready. Like, I think 98% of women would be 98% of cis women who date men would be single. I think that a lot of times men don't come with shit, like don't come with anything. And so because we live in a society that does not value or teach men that they have to, have something going for themselves, not only physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, we also, because we don't teach men that, and we teach women that they have to do all of this work for a man, and if you want a good man, that you have to work and meet him halfway and do all that shit.
Right, you have to experience grief, to get a good man.
Struggle love.
In order, and it's not good for, and the Bible said it's not good for a man to be alone. It's also not good. I don't think human beings are meant to be alone in general.
Yeah.
But don't you think that that's a community issue that's kind of going on, is the celebration of struggle love?
It's not a celebration. It's like it's what you have.
It's a standard.
It's a norm.
Like what? You weren't with this man when he was a drug dealer and going to jail?
He didn't deserve you 13 times, and you're sitting
exactly.
And we're having multiple baby mamas even after y'all were together in the
at least you married, girl. At least you married.
If you're not putting up with someone, you would be single. I promise.
Huh?
I promise you.
What you said in here?
Up with someone, you're going to be single. And a lot of Black women are single because they're like, I'm no longer putting up with anyone.
But I feel like it is better to be single than to have your life energy sucked out of you every day. So I will always stand for that.
Absolutely. But if you have all of these, like I said 5 seconds ago, it's not good for people to be alone. And what you have are people want to get married. They want to do these traditional things. They want to have children. And you're just like, okay, let me just go ahead and find some random person that's good enough, someone that I could put up with for the meantime and do all of these life things with.
But don't you continue the cycle?
I guess so. But what we going to do?
Because I'm convinced children, I'm not even convinced, I know children can peep all of that emotional sort of background noise.
But what do you do? First 40 years of your life, you don't find one person who is like mentally.
That's a tough call.
I mean, to be honest, I think that's a larger community conversation, like Marissa pointed out, but it leads to this idea of how are we making life fruitful, irregardless of partnership and specific coupling? There is couple privilege that plays into the world that we have not combated, because why is it that someone has to have offspring to be taken care of when they're old? Why is it that someone has to have
our society, because that's how our society has been structured.
And it's like, our societal structure is again, specifically this white American ideal. It totally tears apart this idea of having extended or fictive families and kin.
It does.
And that's something that's so valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah, because and nobody wants to be, you don't want to be in your 70s and have no one to look after you.
No.
Because society won't care. You don't have the family to care. Your friends are dying.
Yeah.
So.
It's fucked up.
You gotta be connected, yeah.
So people just get into, back to the point, people get into relationships because they have no other real option. Like, what are we gonna do? And so, you have, I think that's a whole nother conversation, but I don't even know where to go from here now.
I think that was a pod right there.
I recorded it.
Look.
I recorded
That was the pod right. We can keep talking, y'all, because y'all got a lot that y'all want to unpack. Let's go. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Shit. Because I was doing kung fu on multiple fronts. Shit. Let's go.
I agree with you. I agree with you on some level, Chi, that like the relationship between them was predatory, but I don't feel like, on the grander scheme of things, I feel like men have done way worse. Men are doing way worse.
I'm not arguing. I never argue that. That's the truth. But I think we should be able to call it out.
I think that when women do it, they are held at a higher standard than when men do
100%.
it. I know men are doing it every fucking day. I had a nigga do it to me last week. So like, I understand that. But I think the larger conversation is that like, is it right to be in relationships when you know that like the other person, when you know you can't meet the other person where they're at?
No, you shouldn't be in that relationship.
Like,
you shouldn't be in that relationship.
Yeah.
And I say that, and
so there's something wrong with dating up?
No. No. There's dating up, but there's an emotional component. I think that people should strive to get the best mate possible. But if you're in a position where you have no leverage in a relationship, right? You're totally exposed and vulnerable in a relationship. That's not really a partnership. That's more of some type of, what's the biological word I'm looking for? Symbiosis, some type of like, it's not, you're not
so often.
You're not equally yoked in that relationship.
Yeah.
So if the person decides that they do no longer want to move in good faith, you're in a position of weakness and you can't do anything about it.
But that's why you build while you're with that person.
That's not always feasible.
That's what you're supposed to do.
That's not always feasible. You're thinking about it from a capitalistic mindset. That's not always feasible. And then on top of that, if this person has a 20-year head start and they know the game, your little building ain't gonna do shit. Cause they building too. So what's that supposed to do? If I'm a millionaire and I'm like, okay, I'm dating this girl. I saw her at the wine bar. She was my server. She was cute.
That's Matthew McConaughey. That's she got a tight ass. That's George Clooney. All these men do this.
It's a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem, but it's a way men stroke their egos. That's what it is. That's essentially what it is. It's an ego stroke. It's like, I am so powerful that I can just purchase your whole life, basically. I can just take your life. It's a business acquisition. I can take your life and I can absorb it into mine, and now you are a part of my story and a cute little addition. I think Future was
this is just really hard for me to like. What you're saying is like really hard for me to comprehend, because literally men have been doing this for generations and it's been normalized. So the moment that a woman does it, this is so wrong. She took advantage of him. He came from a lower class and she's
both
wealthy.
Can be true.
They do it all like it's
both can be true.
I don't like the selective outrage about it.
I'm not
saying I'm
equal opportunity outrage. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking for me right now. I'm equal opportunity. I will call that man out. I call them out for their bullshit, and I call women out for their bullshit. I just don't appreciate when we are in a space where we're trying to move forward and women have vocalized their concerns, and then when a woman's in the villain seat, it's like, well, men do it. Like, what?
Like, it's the only time you guys make noise is when something happens to you, like, in the community, but it can be going on for literally hundreds of years.
I will concede that.
I think for me, it would have been okay if it was someone who wasn't sick and someone who was going through so much emotionally and like just life shit.
That's why I said this.
No, another man's gonna do this next week and it's gonna be fine and nobody's gonna acknowledge it. But because it's Jada.
I don't know if there's a version of a story with a man that was dating a woman with a terminal disease, and I don't know if you can find it, please.
All of us are suffering from the terminal disease of patriarchy and misogyny. So like inherently, like us having to get through this world and deal with that shit, like yeah, like any situation in which we are, I'm not even gonna say it's given opportunity, because in any situation where we are manipulated and manipulated into this idea of fictive power and this opportunity of gaining power, like in and of itself, it doesn't, my thing is, it doesn't matter if this person was sick, it doesn't matter if the person dealing with a lot, because inherently in this power dynamic, the person on the lower end is on the lower end for some reason. The reason doesn't really matter to me. It just matters the fact there's a power dynamic at play and one person's taking advantage of it in a negative way that is manipulative to the other person.
Okay.
I think that.
All right, let's end there. Let's go.
Okay.
Because